evening, good morning, to you, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to Uplift, uplifting conversations that set your heart on fire. We are here today to have a magical journey. We've got my co-host, as usual, Mr. Neil Thrussell from Calgary in Canada. How are you today, Neil?
I'm incredible. We just have a holiday today, so I'm full of turkey dinner. It's our Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm really excited to hold conversations with Daniel. It's a great day.
For
sure.
It's so good to hear. And now we've got a fellow healer with us today. We've got Mr. Daniel Ponce, who is hailing to us here today, 2 a.m. his time in Portugal. Thank you so much for joining us, Daniel.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm so excited for all the talks that's going to come from this conversation. So thank you guys for inviting me. It's going to be a very beautiful night for me. Morning.
Now let's get things kicked off with a bang. Daniel, for me, I value art. I value nature. I value spending time with my daughter. What do you value?
Nice question. Because I value connection.
Ooh,
Yeah, connection with myself, connection with everything that's happening around me. And it's such a difficult thing these days, right? And to be in fully connection the whole day, the whole moment, like present. And I feel that's where is our power, right? Is there in this connection. So this is one of the things that I most value in my life. Is totally be focused on being connection. Yeah.
Thank you for connecting with us today. I appreciate it.
Totally.
And Neil, I know you well. You, I imagine, also value connection. What else do you value?
I love what Daniel said. Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. And for me, I value connections with nature and friends, and especially my beloved wife of 36 years. Oh my gosh, it's 36 years, and connections that we make on Uplift. With all of our guests and the connections we make in the world through social media, and I love what Daniel said. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful question, Sarah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I think that's something that a lot of people don't keep up to date. You know, we might have some antiquated ideas of what we value. Maybe they've been passed down from our family or friends or from a former self. But when did you last evaluate your values? I know for me, it was actually last weekend. I attended an amazing event, and it was just after I'd come back from about a week spent in nature, surrounded by beaches and just amazing green. Oh, it was so good. The hairs of my arm were sticking up. I felt so grounded and spectacular. And then coming back to this event where I could think about what I valued was wonderful. So I know that all of us here into personal development, I know we're all healers. And I'm curious, Daniel, what do you see as one of the misconceptions about healers?
Well, there's a lot of things, right? Today I was telling one of my posts, I made a video, right, today about the imposter syndrome, right? Because that's such a huge belief about healers, right? That we pass through generations, right? Because I'm meeting lots of people that comes to me because I help healers, I help therapists to go out and shine their light, and many of them they had some parents, grandfathers that were healers. Naturally, they were doing that because they had the opening, but in some moments there was a break on that belief that I can help others. It's fair to help others. It's a good thing, and then they start to judging themselves that no, I cannot do that. I'm an imposter to charge money for that. I'm an imposter to help others. And if it doesn't happen, and if I don't heal them, so that comes a lot of self beliefs that and limiting beliefs that don't let them do what they came to do, right? Because we came with a purpose. So that's the thing.
Yeah,
Make sense?
And
absolutely.
I want to really thank you. Take a minute for our listeners to really appreciate Daniel here because English is his second language and he primarily does his work in Portuguese because he is coming from Portugal for us. So he's having to take all of his training and put it into English. And so what's fluent and flows in Portuguese is he's having to rethink it or
Yeah.
not think, refeel it into to English. So, to our viewers that are watching, if you're wondering why he's like maybe pausing, it's because it's not his native language. So, thank you for the bravery and courage to take um, your gift and move it into English for us that people like me that currently aren't blessed to speak Portuguese.
Yeah, true story, true story. And thank you guys for challenging me, right? Because this put me in the different place. Like not this is not my comfort zone, but it's a growth zone. So here I am challenging myself because of your invitation. So thank you for that.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. One of the things that I love about Portuguese, I studied a little bit of Spanish. My mum and I attended a Saturday morning class many years back. It was fun to do it together. And one of the things that I love about the language, like when I look at your profile, as an English speaking person, I can go therapeutus. Okay, so that I'm guessing means therapy, and you can sort of work out a few words. So it's I'm wondering how you're finding that language conversion.
Yeah, it's not so difficult because here in Portugal, we learn English from like since we are 10 years old. So
Oh,
it's very, very early that we start learning good English. So and then back then at the TV, I not use much of this, but it's here. But when we were young, all the cartoons were in English. No
ah,
translation, no subtitles, nothing, just English, like Cartoon Network from. So I grew up in this place, learning every time like in English. So it's good to be here because I have intentions to go international. So this is good for me.
do you think that background in knowledge of multiple languages has helped you connect with people on a different level?
Totally, totally. Because culture is a strong thing, right? The way that Portuguese people think is totally different from people that from Australia, from Canada, from United States. There's a big difference about ways of thinking. Every culture have the good side and the bad side, right? Um, but it's good to be open to all of these different ways, different perspectives of life. Because every country has its own way of dealing with life, right? And it's very
Absolutely.
specific, very beautiful to learn that.
So, Daniel, when you were born, did you know you were going to be a healer, or did it just sort of surprise you when you stumbled into this way of being?
You went to the through the right way. Well, let me tell you that it's very very beautiful. The story of my life, to be honest, is very beautiful because I grew up in a Christian birthplace. You know, my parents were pastors from the church and very very strong Protestants. And I grew up in the church, right, in the middle of everybody praying God. My mother was had a big spiritual opening, like medium, and she was called as a prophet in the church because she channelized lots of messages. And before I was born, my mother had a dream with me, like 3 years before, of my head in the mountain, and I listened to that dream like the whole life. saying that I was special, that I have something to give to the world. And all the channelings also, I was always confirming like, you are big, you have something to give, you are very important, you're like a big piece of the puzzle. So I grew up listening all of that, and my heart always was like very strong, like, yeah, I'm important, I'm important, I'm important. One person can change the whole world, right? And also and learning everything with the Jesus perspective, right? That now I understand that Jesus was saying that everybody has a Christian potential to be a Christ, so not Christian, a Christ potential. So to be a Christ here on earth, for me, that's like one of the biggest truths that I carry with me. Like, I have the potential to be a Christ here, not to die, because I don't today I don't believe in the story, because big story, but today I don't believe much on that story. But to be here has a channel of light in the others people's lives. So it's interesting to your question, because it gives all this background, right, that I carry with me,
Yeah.
that's very light, not heavy. It's light
Yeah.
because, once again, I just need to be connected, right?
I was about to ask you that actually, if that was like a heavy burden or a light burden, but I
No,
was that it was
very
light.
light. Yeah, very light. It was no since, because there was a place when there was an awakening of the religion, right? Can I give some of my story so I can put you more? Because it's very. I think it's interesting, and people always be like, "Whoa, crazy! So much beautiful things happen." Because when I was 7, my parents started to fly to lots of places, like in Africa, to do missionary work, and I was young. I needed to go with them, right? So we went to Mozambique, to South Africa, doing lots of church things, and helping lots of people with food and blah blah blah. And then my mother and my dad started to be guided through these messages to go to Brazil, back to Brazil, because I'm Brazilian. I was born in Brazil, and I came to Portugal with 1 month old, so like a baby. I grew up here in Portugal. So these channelings, these messages started to guide my parents to come back to Brazil, not to São Paulo, where I was born, but to the Northeast, Fortaleza, beautiful place, very warm. And we went there, and they were guided to build a NGO, a school for kids for free, full-time school with everything for free, and to teach everything with the Bible, like maths, Portuguese, biology, everything with the Bible. So it's very beautiful, the transformation. You want to ask something, Neil? Because
No, no, no. I'm just letting you. I have my questions just going.
okay, okay. And well, then suddenly I started to eat better. Came lots of knowledge about food, because I was eating lots of bad things, garbage, like Coca-Cola, lots of meat, no vegetables, right? And with that came also the knowledge of these books that didn't went in the Bible. So there was some hidden books. What? When I read that, I was like, damn, and then lots of questions started to happen in my head. Like, so
Yeah,
there was someone that chose the books. Who chose the books? When it was? And lots of questions about Christ came there, right? And then I started to wake up and connect with this spirituality. So, answering your thing about being light or heavy, before this awakening, I was very like trying to convert everybody to Christ, right?
yeah,
Because that
yeah,
was are dirty,
Yeah.
right? And then after that, naturally came some books, beautiful books about Christ, but changing the whole perspective of Christ in the cosmo way, you know, understanding
Yes.
the true meanings of the teachings of Christ. So then it's like I didn't say that, like I don't want this anymore. Now I can understand the real meaning and I can use it in my favor. So every time was light because something inside of me was saying the whole time and it's saying right now, you are in the right path, right? Very, very interesting showing this with you. So thank you because I'm getting more clear. But yeah, you are in the right path. So this is like, is light. It's intense emotionally, right? Because you're growing, you're dealing with lots of shadow stuff, right? It's
Yes.
not easy to grow up to expand yourself, but it's light in some way because you can like relax and just be serving, just being you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite author in the whole wide world is from Brazil.
Paulo Coelho.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's written anything that other than in Portuguese. So I've never read Portuguese. So anything that's been translated, I've read it.
Yeah. I never read any book of Paulo Coelho. Do you believe?
Yeah.
You're a traitor to your country.
Yeah, you know why? It's interesting to know why. Because in the church say that he was a witch, you know? And well, you cannot read this kind of stuff, right? That's a sin. You're
Yeah.
going to hell. So we grow up always with like Paulo Coelho. Forget it, he's a witch. Not good for you.
Yeah.
But everybody's saying that he's amazing. I think it's not my priority now to read
Yeah.
his books, but
Yeah. And like every author in the whole wide world, he's available for everyone, but he's
yeah,
not for everyone.
yeah, true
And
story.
I would say you should read one,
Hmm.
and then you make a choice. Whether I wouldn't go and buy the book, I would borrow a book, and then you can just gratefully return it. Because his books are about, most of his writings are on someone is on a spiritual journey looking for something outside of themselves, and it causes them to look inside of themselves.
Yeah,
Agreed.
beautiful. Never heard about in this perspective. I heard a lot of his books,
Yeah,
but never in this perspective.
yeah,
Because it makes sense everything that I heard.
yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with that too now.
Yeah,
Like, I remember
yeah,
reading The
amazing.
Alchemist maybe about 6 years ago. I read The Alchemist, and then recently I heard an audiobook of it, and it came with a beautiful acoustic guitar, and it really set the scene, and that
Wow,
journey just it really became alive. You could follow the travels, and that it was brilliant. So whether
wow,
you're into audiobooks or reading, I mean, is it not time to change your perspective and see something new?
amazing, amazing, amazing. Sharing about what's your my we're speaking about favorite authors about books. Let me share one that made me the whole change in my life was Eckhart Tolle, right? Damn, the New World, right? Like what? That was my big awakening. Like everything changed there, right? To integrate all the once again integrating everything that
mm,
all the feelings that was inside of
mm,
me, right?
mm.
Beautiful.
He Eckhart Tolle, he currently lives in Canada,
Oh, cool.
and
Your neighbor?
it's interesting. It's fun to see him the evolution of Eckhart Tolle as an author, because he had to learn he had to learn to write so that he could communicate and share his knowledge with it, because he was so deep and his work was so powerful. Like the power of now, most people couldn't understand it, couldn't grasp it. And then all of a sudden he spent some time soul searching or doing whatever it was, or he got an epiphany. His future books became not easier to understand, but it people got more benefit because it reached into their heart and soul, so that wasn't quite such a struggle to understand.
Totally. I've read The Power of Now. Firstly, I read The New World, but then I read The Power of Now, and it's a huge difference. Like the New World is so much clear vision. It's like an upgrade of The Power of Now, and The Power
Yep.
of Now is the most famous book, right?
Yep.
The New World came after, right?
For me personally, if our viewers or audience are looking for some really heady, something to really dig your teeth into, try David R. Hawkins' work. It's like, oh my goodness, the eye to eye. It's just, it tackles so many of the spiritual concepts and then tries to put them into everyday terms like muscle testing, energy reading. Just it's phenomenal.
Amazing, amazing, so beautiful.
Sharing.
Yeah, cool.
One of my favorite authors growing up was Enid Blyton. And I think that was part of the reason that I love nature so much, is because I grew up reading these books of fantasy and going out into enchanted forests where literally anything could happen. And I know that it affects me still to this day, to the point where, I'm reading these to my daughter, I should say. I only got the one. And we're having this beautiful connection over something that was written, best part of almost 100 years ago now. And it's lovely that, these authors that we've mentioned today are timeless, so you can get in there and enjoy connecting with that author and learning new things and just blowing your mind in the best possible way. Quick share, I loved nature so much. I traveled around Australia for many, many years and came back and fell down and ended up with a pretty big injury that landed me on my back, and I was unable to do very much. And after I'd broken my ankle subsequently, I missed the great outdoors so much. I painted the faraway tree in my house just to bring nature inside. I had that strong connection to be around nature, and I didn't see any other way other than to paint it. So I did, and it was amazing. It was magical. It was enchanted. And I would highly recommend, if you're stuck in a situation where you don't know what to do and you want to connect with something, paint, grab some pot plants, chuck them behind you, do what you do to connect with what brings you joy, what brings you grounding, what brings you that moment. Neil, what brings you that moment?
Oh my goodness, there's just so many things. For me, I love to run, so running is very meditative. Being, like Sarah says, being in nature, like a sunrise, a sunset, just those aha moments where you're connecting, back to what Daniel said, connecting with people. Just that simple, you can have that glance with your best friend or a friend, and you just look at each other and you go, I know you, and more importantly, I see you for who you really are, and not the bullcrap story that you tell everybody, but I see you for who you really are. And to me, those are just like, whoa. They scare the hell right out of me when people really see the real Neil and they don't accept the bullcrap story. But it is, for me, it's so powerful when they get you at a cellular level. And I'm going to ask Daniel what does that for him. But also, what I really like what Daniel said before, was that his parents told him that they knew he was here for something big, something more, that he was destined for greatness, and it could derail a childhood, or it can be built up when it's approached with love and compassion. So it's wonderful that you embraced it and you felt it, and your parents were able to empower you with this feeling as opposed to burden you with this feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, could go wrong, right? Could go in the wrong way because, well, since my parents were pastors, I met lots of sons of pastors also, and they were really wrong, in the very, well, every path is through expansion, right? But in a very different way that was for sure. And yeah, I could go very, and it's very interesting because I feel that my many times my parents, especially my dad, wasn't there for me because he was too focused on the church and his job, so he could sustain the NGO because the majority of the payments from the to the NGO was came from my dad, and my mother was more there. And until today, or till today, my mother also had an awakening, and till today she connects every time in the morning with everything, right? With everything. Like she still connects, she says God and Jesus and everything, but plus the whole spectrum of the masters and beings that are there, right? And since then, when I was young, you could feel the energy. You could feel when she was like channeling that energy as a light channel, you know, and that was a very beautiful way of connecting. You could feel the energy, and I think that light that was there was always coming to me also, in a way, because it was close to me, right? I could feel that. So I think that was one of the reasons why it was more in a light path and then in a dark path, or you got me. You got me, right? So yeah, I'm getting this kind of insights right now because we are going there, right? So getting clear about that. So nice.
Marvelous.
Hmm.
So when you were talking, what popped into my head was the movie Avatar. You guys have seen Avatar, and they've got Aowa who connects everything and everyone. So as you were talking about your mother connecting, that was the image that popped into my mind.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody
Yeah.
watching Library Replay has probably seen Avatar, and I'm just curious if that is an accurate representation of what you experienced.
Yeah, I didn't saw Avatar, but I know more or less what happened. I need to watch it. 2 days ago, I was showing how they made Avatar to my kids
Oh,
because about motion, right? The motion, digital motion, right? How they record it. But I need to check it out. But I know what it is, the essence of the movie, and that's totally right, because until today, now my mother is not anymore a pastor from the church, but and she's doing like more underground work, not showing up. Is the work that she's doing is like is one of the most, oh, it's huge importance to the moment that we are passing through right now in Earth, but it's totally underground. Is on her bedroom or in her living room, and the work that is totally that, like pushing energy, being a anchor of the light here on Earth. That's what I believe that most of us here that we are here and who is listening to us. That's the call. That's our one of our duties, is to be like a channel of light to this earth. So we push the frequency higher, you know.
I love that. And Neil, how about you? What sort of experience have you got with that healing? How would you relate it to somebody who'd never come across a healer before? How would you describe the experience?
I am a reluctant healer, and only reluctant because there's so many other gifted healers. So I understand Reiki, I understand the power of healing, but it's not something that I choose to do, and it comes from I don't have the patience. So I am capable of it, and I have helped, and it's from this inner awakening and this inner knowing that I am just a channel of light. I know that energy is around me, and I am just the channeler, and to move light to where it is needed. But I just do not currently possess no, I just actively don't want to be that patient.
Yeah.
I love action. It's like I'm the warrior energy. I'm in there, and I like to just go and do things. But that being said, there is a time and a place where Neil does slow down and find that quiet spot to heal myself and heal and work with the healing energies for those that I really care for. And you, Sarah? How do you call the inner healer in you?
Quite often for me, it happens when I'm in a state of flow. So, when time gets lost and, just in this great space of intuition and just being in the moment. I think, as a transpersonal art therapist, a lot of the time what we do is we get people to see their journey and to help them to get it out of their head into something physical, and they can make sense of it. And it's really interesting to marry that with other modalities that help the person to help heal themselves. I think that's really important that, we're all able to heal ourselves. We've all got different levels of our ability to heal ourselves and others. And I'm curious, Daniel, as you were learning to tap into your different healing capabilities, were there any other types of healing that popped up for you that was really important?
Yeah, well, it's very interesting picking the what Neil said, because I also share the same position about as a healer. Right now, I'm not doing any kind of healing work with others. It's more in me. But this is the thing that I found out, that once again, picking the teachings of Jesus, that today I understand what's the real meaning is. Like, one of the things that he told us to be is like living testimonies, you know. Yeah, and this is the best healing work that we can do, is being a living testimony, being ourselves, just being ourselves, breaking patterns in our lives. We are already creating new paths of how the human civilization to also walk that path that we created, right? Like, instead, we can say that the pattern was, instead of relaxing and believing that and being confident that everything was going to be fixed and there is a solution, the normal pattern of the humans, like, no, go after the solution. You need to no pain no gain, and blah blah blah, right? And you need to worry. How are you not worrying about the your situation, like, right? That's the pattern. But If I choose to lay down on the sofa and relax, I'm already creating a new path. I'm breaking a pattern for the whole humanity to use it. That's crazy, right? Because when I heal myself, or when I create these kind of new patterns, I'm like, when I move forwards, the whole universe is moving one step also forward, and this is like crazy. It's so big, because we can be healers in a very passive way. That if we just being focused on ourselves, we're already doing a beautiful healing job for the whole humanity. But if we're doing in the active way, we are doing both works, right? Myself, working with myself and working in others' lives. So that's me, because there is no other, right?
So Daniel, I don't know how old your kids are, but kids are little mirrors and little sponges.
Ooh.
So how have positively affected? Are they little healers? Are they working? Are they picking up little parts of maybe the calmness, the
Tough. Tough. You put it in my wand, because, well, my kids are 6 and 3, and they they were my challenges. They were my big challenge in my life, because somehow this is changing in my life, because I'm creating a new reality. But I feel sometimes that they are heavy to carry with me, because I want to expand so much. I want to be myself so much that sometimes they are heavy in terms of I need to focus also on them, and I cannot have full time for me. Now I need to share my time, and wow, damn it, and because also I decided to have kids because I had the beliefs of my dad that it's okay to have kids. You can have kids. You have to marry because you have to have the blessing of God. I was married virgin, because that was the right way, right? Because you cannot go be in bed with someone without the blessing of God. So I was married in a pressure way, like you need to. If not, uh, you won't hold it, right? And now it's time to have kids. So that was in this way. So I feel that my kids are challenging me to more in a more calm way for me, and to trust more, to love unconditionally, because damn it. And now the lessons that I have in this last month is like, I can change my whole reality. I can change my whole beliefs about this system with my kids. I love being dad. This is what I'm saying every morning to me. I love being dad. I love to be a parent. This is beautiful. It's light, because the whole system was supporting the opposite. It was very tough these last months, because they feel it, right? They are the clear mirror that we have. So they teach us a lot. Are you a dad, Neil? I'm curious.
no. My wife and I made an active choice that we did not want kids because our calling wasn't through children.
Hallelujah.
But it's amazing. And one of my teachers told me, and he says, one of the lessons that we as a human need to learn is that we are here, but we are everywhere. So to learn that we are here, but we are part of everything. So it doesn't matter what's going on out of it, we're still part of it. So to grow our awareness to include everything and yet nothing.
Makes no
Only
sense.
everything and nothing.
Hmm?
Excellent. Where does that awareness come from, Neil?
from the heart.
Yeah. And that, from your, as soon as we, I believe, as soon as we get out of our mind and
Yeah,
we
totally.
just come into our heart energy, then it's our mind that separates us, but our heart, it joins us. So it's when we're coming together in collectively in our heart.
Totally. Yeah, one of the biggest works that I'm doing myself, and that I believe that's the cure of everything, like the antidote of everything, is to understand that we are one, right? That everything is already, that we don't need to battle nothing. We don't need to be. I was reading a channel before this call, this live, and it was saying that once again, like we need to get out of this duality of good and bad, because this is the 3D reality that we are living here. But we don't need to live that. Once that we understand that everything is one and there is nothing more, and that we don't need to battle nothing, and everything is, the whole suffering, whole limiting beliefs, whole fears, they just disappear, like because everything is. What are you worrying about? Like, it's nonsense to worry, right? But for our mind is like, what the fuck are you talking right now? Like my mind is like,
Yeah.
what the hell? But this is I believe that something inside of you both, that when we talk about that, it's so peaceful. It it resonates so well with our heart, right? Like this is home. This is where we are, and we are having a conversation with ourselves here. Right? Neil is me, Sarah is me, I'm Sarah, I'm Neil, right? Because we have just experienced this.
Love that. It reminds me a bit of fungi in that, underneath the surface, all the fungi is
Yeah.
connected, and then what we see above the surface is, a mushroom here, a mushroom there, maybe a clump of mushrooms. But beneath this beautiful kingdom of fungi is just absolutely glorious. You can see some maps of both earth and of fungi on earth, and wow, it's phenomenal. It's just mind-blowing. It's just really incredible. So I'm curious, because we can, get imprints from the past. What has been one of the biggest imprints from your past, guys, both of you, that you've left behind you?
Go for it, Neil.
I'm gonna say yes. I'll answer that, but I want Sarah's been dodging all these. We've not got Sarah there.
Okay, you've got me. Okay. One of the things that I left from the past is, that money is bad. That to ask money to help someone is a bad thing. And I think a lot of healers can relate to that. A lot of therapists
So
can relate
true.
to that. People come to you and they're just like, you hear me, you see me, you listen to me, I get you. And then you realize, well, yeah, I'm actually really good at this. And no, I don't want to, I don't know, stack the shelves in a supermarket or fight big cases in a courthouse as a lawyer. You actually want to do this. This is me. And then, I actually have bills I've got to pay. And Daniel mentioned before, that imposter syndrome about healing and charging. That was one of my big things that I'm proud to say I've left in the past. Thank you for asking, Neil. I'm going to throw it back to you now.
And for me, I wasn't smart enough. And I have done lots of work on, because I remember my family. I have two older sisters and a younger brother. My parents saved money for university for my other siblings, but not me.
Oh.
And I took it as I was not smart enough. That was my story that I told. And in talking and discussions afterwards, that wasn't the story. It was they knew that I had no interest in it. So why the hell put the money to it? But I took it, the young child, the young nobody loves me kind of person took it as, well, they don't think I'm smart enough. So it took many years to get over that story
How
that
do you
I
get
created and I carried.
how do you get over a story that I'm not good enough or I'm not worth it?
You really have to look at it, take the time. As with anything, you need to take the time and look at yourself and find out, am I really not good enough? And look at, well, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this. I can tie my shoes, I can brush my teeth. So I'm really not, I'm capable of things. And then who told me that I wasn't good enough? And is that true? Did they say those exact words in that exact moment? Is it true? And I know Byron Katie's work? Is it true? You know, and then turn it around. Shadow work. It's my story. And what is the age of that little boy that's telling me this story? And I realized it was the 5 or 6 year old little Neil that didn't think he was good enough. And so it takes time, energy, and love for oneself and forgiveness for others that maybe that's not what they said. And even if they did say that, to forgive them and to be able to move on.
I love that. Daniel, have you got anything to add?
I'm on the spot. I'm on the spot because that's also one of the most difficult thing that I needed to handle in my past about not being good enough, because I felt that my parents didn't believe so much in me in terms of success, of going well, because I was too relaxed, too peaceful, always like in the clouds, right? In the past, I was smoking weed, so they were like, "Oh, right, didn't want to go to school, bad boy," and that was one of the things that I felt lots of pressure of my dad and my half brother of pushing me like, you need a job, you need to go, you need to do something in terms of forget spirituality, because I wanted to be a missionary also. I wanted to dedicate my life to help others. That was my focus. But there was a belief in my family that said, but you cannot live with it. That's like fairy tales story. And now, right now, this is something that I deal with a lot, and now is very in a low way in my life. But Sarah's gone. She will come back. Don't worry, guys. But today, one of the things that's most uh, that I'm working more in my life is about what if I can't handle it? What I'm
Oh, not good
wishing.
enough. Yeah.
Like this is I believe this is a next level of not being good enough, like what if what I'm asking is too much and I cannot handle it,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
That's pushy, that's very hard, and I'd be like, well, you need to trust, you need to trust the flow, trust the universe, trust God, trust your inner power, inner wisdom that everything is aligned. You just need to go, right?
What,
Yeah.
and that's beautiful because really what most people don't know is that if in order for a coach, a healer, or someone that's working with you, in order for them to take you deep, they have to have done the work first because they can't take you deep unless they've gone deep themselves, so that they understand the questions, so they understand. Because you can read a script. I can read a script and say, and do this, but you don't believe the healer, you don't believe the coach. But when energetically you know that your coach has done the work, and you know, and they know, because they can read all the telltale signs, they can take you so deep. So I love that you're sharing with us that you're willing and have gone to look at your shadow side, to look at your fears, to recognize that you know that your not your failings, but to recognize that things were set in your life and you had to deal with them. And
Totally.
welcome back, Sarah.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sarah.
Sorry, I forgot to pay the electricity bill.
Ah, that's normal. I was sharing that one of the biggest things that I'm handling right now in my life is about what if I can't handle it? What I'm wishing, right? What I'm focusing, where my attention is, right? What if I'm not good enough to deal with everything that I'm wishing? And Neil was saying about the power of doing ourselves a work as a coach, as a healer, to help others. And picking that line, Neil, I think that's one of the most important things about being a healer or coach or any kind of therapist is you need to trust in yourself, right? Inner trust, inner confidence. Because if you don't, you cannot do nothing. You cannot, if you don't believe in your light and who you are, the work will stop. When it's going too deep, you'll be like, whoa, damn it, this is very deep. Like, push up, come back to the patient, right? But when you believe you can go to hell with your client, and you find everything that you need to find out, the diamonds that there in that hell, and you will bring it back and give to your client, like, this is your who you are, this gem, this is the lesson that you're thinking right now. But I need to be very like, I can handle this once again, right? I can handle it.
And that's so true. And what's good is people can smell bullcrap. So if like
Yeah,
we've all probably experienced being with someone that is entirely ego based. And I can do this, I can teach you to walk across water, da 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 da. And you know that it's entirely ego driven and ego based. But I love it when you find that teacher, that mentor, that someone in your life that's at the perfect point that you need to help you to the next step. And you know, and you feel their heart. It's completely heart based. And that's what I've really enjoyed with our conversation today, Daniel, is that our viewers, our listeners are truly been blessed with some heartfelt non-egoic based sharing. So I truly want to thank you. And if you want to get a hold of Daniel, this is still the best way for people to find you.
totally. Add me as a friend in my Facebook. My whole work, it's there. All my content, my videos, everything is in Portuguese. But thank God, Facebook automatically translates all the posts, right? So even who doesn't speak Portuguese, that's normal. I know it's difficult. Uh, you can still check my text, my content, and enjoy it. And maybe soon you will check me speaking in English only.
Oh,
So yeah, that's
awesome.
my intention for the next year.
I've got to
Sounds soon.
say, I appreciate your post, and because it does translate into English, you go in there
Yeah.
and tap in your native language and I'm reading it in mine, and it touches me. And it's a beautiful thing that we've been able to connect like that. And I appreciate your work and that which you've done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The same I say to you in your language that I understand.
So at the moment, I don't know, Neil, if you guys have already asked when I, forgot to pay my bill before, but have you got something happening at the moment, Daniel, that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, that's such a huge moment. I believe that we are in a very important moment of Earth once again, right? That is very intense for lots of people in terms of emotions and so much coming up for everybody, especially in terms of our body is showing up lots of things, right? Physically, lots of people were sick these last weeks, and it's because we are really entering a new place that it's new for everybody of us, and I'm happy for everything that's happening right now in Earth, and I want to say that everything for the light to come in, the shadow needs to be lighted, right? If not, there is no light work. So everything is coming up as a dirty thing, a very strong thing, but this is all illusion that will dissipate in not much time. So for who is listening and that is identifying with everything that's happening in a bad way, one of the most important messages that I want to leave here is that this is just the cover. This is empty. This will get down very, very easily, but this is a moment that we need to pass through so the good news, the good things come up. Make sense?
Yes, thank you. So as we attempt to wrap this up, I would like to leave with you, whatever you do, get out in nature, find what makes you and brings you joy to share your light and your love. But I really encourage you to get out into nature and experience all the joy and happiness that nature is intended and is there to provide. Sarah.
Super.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You asking people to connect with nature. Nature for me, as I'm sure we know by now, is a huge and important thing. And the one thing that I found about nature is that things fall down, and trees fall down, the leaves fall down, and it gives back. It gives back. It's kind of like and from shit. Amazing things grow. We fertilize ourselves to grow in some pretty spectacular ways. And I just want to add, look, if you've experienced some sort of trauma, if you've experienced, and being a human, it's okay to connect with nature and to feel gratitude for the little things, because those little things is really what makes life so important.
Yeah.
And I want you to go out there and enjoy creating uplifting conversations with people. Get out there and design the life you desire. Take care. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us on Uplift today.